Hello and welcome to African companies are positioned to take ownership of cloud and data produced and processed here in Africa. But I'm not going to do this alone. I'm here in the studio with my co-host, and permit me to introduce her in a very dramatic way. The delectable, chocolatey, melanin caramel popping sunshine, Sissy Lizzie.
Woo! Hi. Oh, that's the cloud. And to them, it's just distance. To them, it doesn't. I'm super excited to be here today. And yes, over to our guest.
All right, before All right, before we introduce our share these things in the very big themselves. So as you can see, they are ready to kill this conversation, right? As you can see, they are ready to kill this conversation, right? So we'll start with you, sir. You tell us your name, your portfolio, and what you do here in MTN Nigeria.
All right, thank you. I'm glad to be here. My name is Ebuka Izeuze. The senior manager in IT. Ebuka Izeuze. The senior manager in IT, architecture and engineering. Pretty much responsible for growth and new business technology platforms. Which pretty much means enabling MTN to break into the new technology areas, right, beyond traditional telecommunications. That opens up a lot more new opportunities for the organizations and also for everybody in the entire country.
Thank you. So the next time you get to interact with any MTN product, you know that this is the man behind it.
Exactly.
And
that means for us, we believe in MTN. Everyone deserves the benefits of a modern, connected life, and that is taking those benefits to small businesses, large business.
Joining us from United States of where he is. So I'm going to let him introduce us. Yeah, Onome, over to you.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible. My name is Onome Ologe. Very well. I'm the senior manager in charge of our cloud solutions at MTN Nigeria. Part of my responsibility encompasses our cloud offerings, interfacing with customers, pretty much helping organizations see business value in technology. That's what I'm responsible for.
talk about, we have quite a very limited time, right? It seems like an abstract term, like mean to the average Nigerian.
Pretty much like you said, and it just that has been put together by somebody in some place that enables you from another part of the world or another geographical, right? So that's like Google. Many of us in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. What it means for, and you see how a person can change their laws and to cloud services. Problems payments. You largely make those payments. Economic take part is worse. That's it. Because it's know what it is, not our area of jurisdiction to access that information, and there's a sovereignty issue for businesses because our information security. It rolls a bit data over these situations whereby those apps don't respond fast. Because these situations whereby those apps don't respond fast. Because the distance, the data is actually traveling very far. So these are things that really affect us as a country.
Broke it down, right? That means there is a lot that we need to be aware of, right? Because it is people who interact with this product. That means are worried about loading to the cloud. Is it just in their pictures and content and data, or what exactly should they be worried about?
I like that. I like your angle. Small business, you're on social media, as small businesses locally about it. In terms of speed, you hear go site, you go every region, the product. And if you are the, God forbid it goes to, you need to be worried about the product. And if you are the, God forbid it goes to, you need to be worried about those things. Many businesses now are digital, bothered about costs. So the cloud is built that internally here.
Maybe starting with you with this. Each of you has played a key role, in shaping. MTN's digital technology and this.
Oh, well, thank you so much. For me, I would say it's the From Africa for Africa mantra. We are finding MTN Cloud Platform has our DNA ingrained. So from the platform development itself to the solutions that we develop off the platform, our pricing in Naira, all of that makes it a huge aha moment for me personally, because I've been part of it. A lot of times you find out things, and if you do it into consideration, our forex concerns, which is why our cloud is priced in Naira, and our need for scale. We have taken all of that and we've built a solution around it. And that solution is for Africa by Africans, people that truly understand what our challenges are, people that feel the pinch, that wear the shoe, and have come up with a solution to address this concern. I've been a part of this journey from inception up until now. First of all, because the cloud services that we have traditionally consumed, that we can do it for cloud adoption generally for your customers in your local currency, then imagine what the possibilities are. So I need to think about and start focusing on.
Into why moving first with Akin. For many years, African has largely been a consumer of global cloud services, AWS, Microsoft, you name it.
That's because again, cloud consumption from hyperscale can be local cloud ownership matter here. Countries are deciding, and he also spoke about economic sovereignty, subject to your own humans, using tools, your work tool, Naira. There's still here. Let's make impact of building and owning development, I mean, you are suddenly load of, and guess what, guys? There's still the option of others consuming resources from us in Nigeria, which starts to help our own inflows also. Because of course they'll be paying here, and I think
speaking of are hosted abroad, or as long as it works, how would you respond to a question like that?
Yeah, about what goes in, but things I also want to really bring to the fore of continuously consuming economic rights, which is very significant. Now, in Nigeria, that just looks like using a Microsoft Word. That your fancy skill data centers locally, we now start to look at the engineering field. That your fancy skill data centers locally, we now start to look at the engineering field using technology globally. That is drafted for your data is subject to foreign law using technology globally. That is drafted for your data is subject to foreign law, can be utilized in foreign data centers.
Still on this, and we are hosting outside the
hit your bill, your bank account.
Your bank account.
So remember when the whole bubble of cloud was happening like 3 years ago? Everybody was pushing to cloud was happening like 3 years ago. Everybody was pushing to all of that, but significant impacts of business
is predictability. You haven't built your organization on the cloud, and suddenly your costs skyrocket beyond where you imagine. Goodbye to your business. So that predictability allows you to be able to fork your own customers and do a lot of things. So I think for me, that's one of the big things also, having it locally. It's predictable. I know what I'm dealing with.
And if you can remember, if we can take our minds back to sometime, I think that was last year or last 2 years, when there was a cutting, undersea cables were cut, right? That grounded a lot of businesses to a halt in Africa. Because many businesses are hosting their services in the US or in the UK and all of that. But when that subsea cable was cut, it meant that businesses couldn't function anymore, right? So imagine if we had a large volume of our business and our services hosted in Africa and Nigeria. Nobody would have been, very minimal people would have been impacted. So these are some of the risks that comes with this that we have to be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting conversation, right? As you were speaking, what came to my mind was, the prodigal son that said, give me all my, and he went somewhere. And then I remembered when we posted about this session on YouTube, there was a comment somewhere on LinkedIn, and the person said, oh, this is really nice, it's a very good idea, but I can't trust a Nigerian company with my data.
I mean,
right? As you talked about the undersea cable, I said, we build a data center. What if the government wants to build another coastal road and we wipe out a whole data center for doing that? Now, the question is directly to Onome. Can problems that could arise even when we localize our data? And if we...
Let's get excited. Direct answer is yes. Nigeria can get it right. And MTN is getting it right because we're kind of leading that charge. And this is not wishful, but let's think about it. This cloud platform or the data center or the digitization has a lot of work that has gone before now to be spoken about on LinkedIn or some of the other social media forums much later. Now, speaking to the is national information that the cloud market is expected to grow to $3.28 billion by 2030. That's sizable GDP. Now you have the National Cloud Computing Strategy, you have Sovereign Cloud Initiative, you have the Cloud First Policy, you have the Nigeria First Policy, the Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, that is pushing the data sovereignty, Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, that is pushing the data sovereignty and local infrastructure growth. Imagine the national and local infrastructure growth. Imagine the national have provided a cloud platform, we're hosting locally, it is priced locally, we are attracting solution provider, digital content, then futuristically too, locally, to develop solutions that are based for Africa by Africans. Now imagine imagine by people hosting on the MTN cloud platform, by people hosting on the MTN cloud platform. Now that's one part of it, speaking to the money. The other part is citizen data locally. If you want to do your international passport, if you want to do your international passport, or if you want to, or if you want to do some citizenship services, either with your book had spoken about. If we just stop and think about what these possibilities are, then we can begin to imagine how this value will drive digital public services, how it will imagine how this value will drive digital public services, how it will how it will reduce government spend when we use shared services, how it will reduce government spend when we use shared services and consolidated infrastructure. The digital sense as well. AI. And I'll speak to it a little bit later during the train AI using local data sets where we can begin to build sovereign AI, you just name it. Those are all the possibilities that we can unlock in a 5 to 10 year period. So there's the multi-billion-dollar GDP growth, there's data sovereignty, there's positioning Nigeria as a regional leader in digital hub for Africa or West Africa, as the case may be. There's job security because of the initiatives that will come from the ecosystem that we're driving. So there's a huge potential.
Right. Imagine a state government, yes, with multiple parastatals, ministries, development agencies, you name it. They're all running IT functions, buying servers locally, having people manage them, awarding contracts. Now, imagine all of that in terms of infrastructure, support, maintenance, logistics. Just imagine all of that. That frees up a lot of funds to go into other development initiatives.
Largest telco provider in Nigeria, right? Of course. Now, MTN is well known for telecoms, of course, but today you're also playing in the digital infrastructure space, right? Now, how has that role evolved from telco to cloud, data centers and leading the digital charge in Nigeria? Not just in Nigeria, of course, but let's focus on Nigeria for now. That's
for me. Yeah. So I think, we talked about modern connected life. I worked in MTN in the early years, 2003, 2005. We had switching facilities, which we still have at this point. And that's where we put in all our switches, which we use for telephony. Those things today are what have transformed into a data center. You said telecom service provider, the largest. We've evolved from a telecom service provider to a technology service provider. We're a techco. We're a technology company. How did we get to this point? We sat down, again, back to the benefits of a modern connected life. What does that mean to businesses? Where are their pains? Started to look at small businesses, look at startups, and we decided, you know what, we're going to provide this digital infrastructure. We have the country. For us, this was a natural transition. And look, we have our eyes on the future. We're talking about, Onome talked about AI, bringing in AI workloads here now. There's a lot more coming. And MTN is properly positioned to be able to take on these challenges as we build out. Ibuka also talked about talent. We're investing in talent as MTN, upskilling talent, growing talent, just building those capabilities to allow us better take advantage of the opportunities in the future. So for us, that business of techco is a natural progression for us. We are there. We're in that phase where we're unbundling it and moving into a number of other areas that deliver value to individuals, businesses, and of course the citizens, the government alike.
Thank you. Ibuka, to you, I mean, from a technical perspective, how easy or how difficult has that transition been? Yeah.
Yeah, I think pretty much it's been quite challenging and also easy as well at the same time. Now, like Akin said, it was a very deliberate step that was taken. It started from an organizational strategy, right? From a global organizational strategy about MTN to move from becoming a telco to moving a techco. And you can actually see that happen already. For us to achieve that, it meant that we had to carve out the strategy, cascade the strategy across the entire organization, and start to execute it. And that's why you now start seeing some various subsidiaries of MTN that has been born out of this. You see our fintech arm, right? You see a Biobab that is providing wholesale connectivity services. You see Channelsys that is providing API services across the globe, right? And a whole lot more that is also coming up that I may not be able to say everything right now, right? And that also meant us not just building these organizations, but also building our people as well, like Akin has said. In MTN right now, we have a very strong software engineering and infrastructure engineering practice. And we don't just build with vendors now. We now build software for our use by ourselves. And MTN also now builds for organizations as well and provides services, software development services to organizations. This is all things that have been done to enable us to move from where we are to where we want to get. It's been a journey, but we're getting there.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. It's interesting. Man, real quick, within 1 or 2 minutes, I mean, if you can tell us what problem was MTN trying to solve by investing in data centers?
So first off, let's take into consideration the AI example. If you've used a picture of myself, that's because the system is tailored to that particular demography, and the data sets have been trained for that particular demographic. Trained, a lot of those solutions are usually DNA. So things like our complex environment, things like our company play. So those are the different problems that MTN was trying to solve those are the different problems that MTN was trying to solve to provide a truly unified solution that would deliver value in the African context. Now, we had spoken about some of the solutions that we have as text. Now, we had spoken about some of the solutions that we have. I've spoken about some of the challenges. I'll do a quick detour here to say, put on my sales hat to say we want to invite everybody to take into consideration this hat to say we want to invite everybody to take into consideration the services that we have on the MTN Cloud platform, government, parastatals, either state, federal or local government, individuals, enterprises, SMEs, whatever it is, we can work with you to deliver solutions that will drive business value. So where people are traditionally seeing a challenge, we are seeing opportunities. And
real examples without naming names, obviously.
Cloud Accelerator Program. Performance completely degraded. We sat with this organization, we'll bring some of your workloads onto our. Let's explore this together. Come and experience this with us. Some of the workloads come onto our cloud and they start to immediately see changes in performance at peak period. 1, you've lost the latency problem that you had. 2, you've reduced your cost significantly because you're not sourcing for US dollars and you're paying locally in Naira. And 3, your customer immediately has a better experience, bringing more customers in, and then freeing up your margins, which you're losing for US dollars, to allow you to start to innovate. They are now starting to go into other services, and they're working with us also in product development, starting to see things in terms of advertising. That is an ecosystem, simply from a cloud problem that has been solved to other things. I'll give you another really, really fantastic example. Snippet of things that are coming through. a startup software orchestration, cloud software orchestration, or cloud infrastructure orchestration. We're working with them to build on top of our cloud products and services that you and you and you can use. So imagine that startup scaling with MTN and sitting on MTN Cloud. That is the opportunity that I see. Those are real opportunities. And also for other startups, our cloud marketplace coming up soon. You have all of your applications, your services sitting in there. We've talked about other businesses that that within the MTN family, the Chinosis and the like. Imagine all of these resources sitting on the cloud marketplace and just available to be picked up on a drag and drop basis. That is the kind of opportunity. That is the real, those are the real things happening with the MTN cloud now.
That's interesting. But for the first story you cited, is there anything you think that surprised them the most after the move was done?
I think, so yeah, I mean, the first question was asked that, how are we sure we're going to get this right? How are we sure we can trust this? It surprised them. They were surprised that this is real, this is right, this is as simple as it's supposed to be.
Right.
And of course, imagine that we are continuing to grow. So we're making it simpler, we're bringing down costs, we're doing a number of things just to allow this to continue to grow. So yes, that truly surprised them.
Okay.
And of course, the capabilities internally to support, like, okay, we can actually reach someone to handhold. By the way, don't tell anyone, Onome was doing a bit of that, and holding some of these big organizations. But yes, that's what it is. This is a cloud service that is here, is near you, with people that you can actually talk to about it.
Honestly, to me, that's the kind of example people need, because it turns from just being a slogan to something you can picture, like you can
Yeah.
feel, you can experience.
I think
in
that's
real
also
time.
a very, very strong point with people that you can actually talk to. Yeah.
Very strong point. So
Yeah.
while all three guests, spoke, there was something that stood out in all, the comments, the contributions, the conversations, and that has been sovereignty. So I want us to get into sovereignty, right? Data sovereignty, information sovereignty. We know that data is the new oil, right? And Nigeria is estimated to have the youngest, the largest young population in the next 5 to 10 years, not just in Africa, but globally. What does data
fully participate in the global digital economy without controlling its data infrastructure, and its digital ecosystems, right? So let me break it down into three. First of all, there's the ownership part, which we spoke about for data sovereignty. There's also regulatory, and there's the economic independence. AI, for instance, your picture and trying to enhance it digitally, understand us, that reflected our language, our culture, the social dynamics of Africa generally, without that data sovereignty. So this is future thinking now. We need that sovereignty to be able to develop solutions that will help us provide value in our own context. Now, speaking to regulatory, there are a lot of organizations, countries that are trying to enact data laws that would resemble what you have in EU, which is the GDPR. Nigeria has something similar, which is the Nigeria Data Protection Act. The goal is to strengthen oversight and manage compliance for businesses handling data and things like that. Now, that sovereign control is essential for protecting the citizens. Ebuk had spoken about it. Somebody can wake up in another part of the world and decide that because the data is hosted there, they have sovereign rights over it and control what happens to that data. That's one of the things that we need to think about. And also the fact that Africa needs to come together to develop its own version of the EU's GDPR, where we can remove all the complexities of having silos Africa as a whole. Then the more important part, which is speaking to Africa as a whole. Then the more important part, which is speaking to the economic independence, you spoke stored offshore. The terms of holding that data, the pricing, the policies, leaves us and is hosted somewhere. We are vulnerable. we are vulnerable to a lot of things, change in policy, price shocks, so that number one, we're reducing the foreign infrastructure reliance that could not prioritize African interests. I don't want to ruffle any rousers just yet, but that's also a possibility on our terms. So yes, we need to mine our oil, which is data, keep it for ourselves, and develop value of it that would drive our economy.
Nigeria's data regulation process. I mean, if you can give some light, shed some light on Nigeria's data regulation process. How has it evolved? I'll give it a context because it's assumed that here in Nigeria, Africa, data sovereignty trails innovation, right? We only spot it. It has happened. We do not anticipate it, right? So the question is, how does hosting data locally make compliance easier for business or even sovereignty? How does it, hosting it locally, how does it aid sovereignty or regulatory? How does it, hosting it locally, how does it aid sovereignty or regulatory and compliance? I'll ask that to you, Ebuka.
All right. So first of all is that, when you're hosting data, pretty much makes it easier in various ways. One of them is in terms of regulation, right? My colleague mentioned that it's the Nigerian Data Protection Act, right, is actually strong and is actually being enforced, right? And what that pretty much means is that as a business, if you're actually going to generate and produce data and process data that involves personally identifiable information, the Act mandates that you must have to host it locally, right? Previously, there are some provisions that allowed you to maybe to host in Western Europe or stuff like that, but that has changed, right? So what that pretty much means that the government is increasingly beginning to realize the risks that comes with data being moved and hosted in other countries. So as a business, you need to start to think about these things because these are things that are really going to slow you down in terms of growing your business and being able to launch new products. You must have to fulfill these regulations by first filing the act, there's something that's called the DPIA. You must have to go through that entire process, right, before the government even gives you the approval to, if you must move it out there. Right. Then secondly as well, institution like this, which we've already talked about, is we need to also continuously realize the impact, and I'll keep saying it, right? The impact on us as a nation not being able to develop our competencies in this modern technology area. It is very significant, and that's one of the impacts that we as an organization and nation are going to face if we keep on hosting our data out there.
All right, thank
you.
So
still speaking on compliance, sorry, I still want to be on Ebuka. What's that one compliance mistake that you think that a lot of Nigerian business owners make when they are trying to move fast to just, establish a business, a company, and what's that one compliance mistake that you think a lot of Nigerian business owners make?
I mean, the first thing is that everybody wants to rush out there to the market.
Exactly.
They feel fast.
That's it. Everybody wants to rush out to the market.
Exactly.
Feel fast.
And when you've rushed out there and you start to amass customers, and then the regulation now comes upon you, and then it now starts to face the real challenges of having to start to re-engineer all that system, that whole process entirely, and that becomes very
and expensive. Just to add to this, I'm like running, So it's an organization, public sector, we're doing, trying to run with towards the end of last year. And we came to screeching stop because we're like, guys, hang on. There's a lot of customer data that is going to be collected here.
Exactly.
Okay. Internally, again, we have data protection officer. We have a data compliance function. And we just raised it with this organization. Like, guys, where's this data? Who owns this data? How is this data being used? We got into the conversations around processors, controllers, and this organization were like, you know what, MTN, I think you need to guide us through this. And because that's it, we all needed to be very, very mindful of this. So you don't take on liabilities that you are not aware of. So, but I'm really excited that conversation is happening already. So yes, there's NDPA, we know about it, but it's starting to touch everyone, and they're talking about it. It's coming up.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. So still on Akin, we know Nigerians don't trust easily. I remember during the migration that happened in 2024, where I work, and I could see that, yeah, it's a well-known organization, but people just feel like, my money. So, and it was still like an issue during that period. So, like, it's a major concern. How do you think Nigerians can be confident, that their data is safe in the cloud, anywhere it is, especially because we are trying to host it locally? How do you think, as Nigerians, they can understand that your data is safe? But personally, if I'm going to speak, I'll say even me, I don't trust Nigerians when it comes to my data. So, but how do you think we can start imbibing that culture to understand that our data is safe, nothing is going to happen, and all of that?
Okay, I think first of all, data centers, the MTN cloud, adhere to international best practice when it comes to physical security, when it comes to cyber security. Ebuka will tell you a lot about the encryptions, first of all, we're subject to that. Secondly, MTN is a quoted organization. Transparency and accountability are watchword. Yeah. I said it in the last question that we have a data protection function, data privacy and compliance function within MTN. We're completely transparent and accountable. Try this, understand it, and see it. That as a quoted organization, we have obligations to our own stakeholders, beyond that, guys. Again, I bring this back. We've been in this for 25 years and counting, and we are here to stay.
Yeah, such a big
text. And if I may chip in, David, if I may chip in, trust again is not given, it's earned, right? Akin has spoken about a lot of things. We welcome you to validate a lot of these claims that we're making, so you know that they're just not claims. We want you to come, try out our service, ask for documentation, ask for proof, if your circumstances permit, and we also want organizations to come and have a look at our data center and the things that we have built to show the processes that are all backing the claims that Akin has made. So yes, trust is not given its end. We want to end your trust. We understand that a lot of Nigerians, generally speaking, are not, are not generally trusting.
And I want to believe we all sit here understand why this is a thing. Exactly.
Well, yes, totally, yes. But come try us out, and you find out that we're worth our salt.
Yeah. So, real quick, lastly on sovereignty, because it's a big issue, right? I believe each of the players have roles to play, including government, the private sector, and individuals. So real quick, what roles should the government, private sector, and
even citizens,
individuals, you and I, what roles should we play to ensure that our data is well governed and is safe? I think I'll ask Ebuka, then we'll just take it round.
Okay. So first of all, the government makes the laws and also enforces the laws as well, right? And the laws have been made, right? So as individuals, as businesses, we need to go and start by looking at reading up those laws, and let's start to learn those laws. It's very, very important, right? That is very, very key. And once we learn and understand those laws, we need to try to comply with those laws, because those laws are put there for a reason. And then these are for businesses and for individuals as well. And also for individuals as well, we also need to also be careful and be mindful of what we put out there on the internet, right? Like they say, the internet never forgets, right? So we also need to be careful of what we put out there. So these are some of the things I would just say that we all need to be careful about.
Okay. If I were to add something to that, as businesses, small businesses or large businesses, just the same way you deal with taxes, and you know that, okay, the taxman is coming, you need to bring data protection, data privacy, and compliance up front. Build that into the fabric of your organizations immediately. And again, for the consumers, for the individuals, all of us who are here, remember, in a lot of cases, we are now the product. start taking interest in what your information is being used for. Start asking questions. Honestly, I went to buy ice cubes a couple of years ago, and they were going to give me a receipt, and they asked for my phone number. I said, "What for? What for? What are you doing with my phone number? I'm just buying ice cubes to ice drinks." I mean, be mindful of this. Your data, protect it. You don't want to find your data in some breach or some leakage, and it's being used somewhere carelessly.
Recording
So
stopped.
we all need to be mindful of that. Thank you.
All right, so
All right.
on
This,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, President Ebuka had spoken about the fact that women, private sector, citizens, uh, let's hold each other accountable. While the government is creating the policies to drive the innovation, Akin has spoken about one way that we can hold each other accountable. So if your data is being requested, find out why, what it's for, how the data will be consumed, how it will be disposed of, who would have access to it, questions like that. Now, it's more than just checking the box to say agree. Sometimes we have to go through the painstaking process of reading the fine print and begin to effect that policy change that we want to see. Then on the government side and also on the private sector side, let us co-create. Let us come together. Let us develop the roadmap together. Let us build solutions together. Let us drive this innovation together. Because there's one thing for Africa building solutions for Africa, it also has to drive economic value for Africa. And this is where that value chain from government, private sector, and citizens would always come into play.
Okay, thank you. I mean, this conversation has been really insightful. I mean, the average guy out there who didn't know anything about cloud or data centers and all of that, at least has a measurable amount of knowledge from the conversations so far. But for everything that looks beautiful, shiny, attractive, and trendy, there are always challenges,
Yeah.
I believe, right? There are always challenges that come with it. And of course, in Nigeria and Africa, we have our peculiar challenges. One of them will be power, right? There is power, there is connectivity, there's a skill gap as well, and there is even funding. So, can we delve into some of the unique challenges with, first of all, owning data centers and even scaling data centers with respect to these challenges I've mentioned: power, connectivity, skill, and funding? Can an average person be a company that's 5 years old? You know, you guys said you're 25, Abi. That's a full-blown adult. Can a young company even think about owning a data center with all these challenges posed? I think that's for Onome.
Onome,
Onome, go
yeah.
ahead.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so I'll speak to it.
We can hear on me.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, better.
Okay, great. So you spoke really correctly. Cost is a huge factor or challenge when we're talking about building data centers. There's the operational cost, power constraints, quite a lot. Now, for data centers that are hosting business critical workload, you need 24 by 7 power supply.
Right.
And that costs a pretty penny, especially if you want to talk about tier 3 or tier 4 certification. So challenge around cost is a huge concern. Then there are things like connectivity, skill sets, maybe. And speaking to your question, can an average company or organization have a data center? I would say yes and no. Uh, because when we talk about data centers, we are usually talking about very large root with infrastructure. With the services of a data center, host some of their work.
Data center space, and he actually affirmed to the fact that he employs Nigerians in his data center to work. And I was like, you don't have any experts, purely Nigerians, and I was really impressed. So, does Nigeria or do Nigerian talents possess the required skill set from all required skills to function and operate or even manage a data center? That's a challenge, and of course, power. I want us to talk a bit about power. Your data center has to be, if I'm not mistaken, 99.9% efficient when it comes to power. You don't want any single outage. So how do you
Recording in
respond to some
progress.
of these, at least these two challenges specifically?
Okay, so some with the power aspect, I think first thing is that, like we all know, our grid is not where it's supposed to be, on national grid, not where it's supposed to be. So we find many data centers having to go utilize hybrid solutions for things like this. One of the ways is by utilizing independent power projects, deploying independent power projects to basically power the data centers, with having the national grid also, like in some cases the national grid is used as a backup, right? And other grid energy solutions. These are the sort of interventions that are being put in place right now. Data centers consume a lot of power
And energy.
Right? And what's still, if you now want to run AI workloads in there, right? It comes like a rack could take up to like 20 to 40 kilowatts just one rack, right?
Wow.
So it takes up a lot of power. So which is why there's a lot of other hybrid solutions that people have to come up with now to be able to augment the national grid. Now coming to the scale, I'm really impressed, right? Because one of the things that I also try to talk about is the fact that we as Nigerians, we need to start to build our technology skills to not just be people that consume technology services, right? But people that also create and contribute to the research and development of technology. Now, when it comes to data centers, you now need to be able to, we need to have people that have skills around how to build very strong distributed systems, people with very good expertise in networking, right, and security, people that have very good skill sets in building virtualizations and running, building such kind of workloads and putting them together, people that can even write the code, the foundational code for operating systems, that can write the foundational code for networking systems, that can write the foundational code that contributes to things like even Kubernetes orchestrated services. These are the sort of foundational skills that we
Sorry, can AI write this code?
yeah, to some extent, AI can, right? And even down to the hardware engineering, right? Being able to build this hardware. You know, at times software engineering is becoming very easy now. AI can do it, right?
Exactly.
But AI has to the point of being able to build hardware, right? So how we, as a nation, developing the talent, and how we the citizens, be very deliberate and conscious about developing our talent and our skills that enables us to be able to build this sort of things and run this sort of workloads. So Nigeria today, our skills are largely being majorly being around utilizing existing cloud services. Largely, you have lots of people with good certifications in AWS, lots of people with certifications in Azure, and can really function. But what goes underneath the hood of those, we don't have just as much, right? So that's an area of development, and that's where I think that we should start to focus on.
Sorry, just to follow on, I read an article and it says there are some skills that, have been, marginalized but will begin to come back. Engineering skills, mechanical engineering, for construction of racks and all of that stuff. Being able to just know how to plug all those cables properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to add to that, I mean, I've visited the data center a couple of times, taking people on tours. You see the pipes, you see the mechanical and electrical work plumbing. You see the power systems, soundless, no heat. There's a lot. I talked about owning your own the local data centers, starts to build capabilities, job creation. It's a lot of people
required.
Those skills are back in here.
Nice, interesting. Lizzie, I think you have a...
Okay, so this is for you, Buka. How is MTN navigating challenges like energy reliability and infrastructure costs?
All right, so one of the key things that we've done and that we're doing very, very strong, because MTN consumes a lot of power too, right? Because we also run not just data centers, we run base stations, right? All around Nigeria. right? So what we are doing right now to deal with this sort of challenge you talked about now is by utilizing alternative energy sources, right? Which are also cheaper and also cleaner, and also enabling us as well to contribute to ESG.
Does that include solar, renewable, all of that?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're adopting a lot of solar technology, putting that into all our data centers and all our switching centers and all our base stations, right? And that's one of the ways that we're dealing with this sort of problems.
Okay.
Interesting. I think we're moving into the final segment.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
been an interesting one. Honestly, it's been very, very interesting.
Yeah, and please, if you have followed on the conversation this far and you've not subscribed, you're wrong. Just quickly do that, subscribe, like, and then share the link. Of course, we're getting to the final part of this conversation. So I think I'd like to just wrap it up around the opportunities, because we've talked a whole lot about the challenges, but for the opportunities, I think we need to explore them so that startups, individuals can begin to look ahead and see where they can tap into. So it is, I think I'll move this to Ibuka again. I know you've spoken a lot, but also because you're more technical. So for the Nigerian talent learning tech today, cloud engineering, DevOps, cybersecurity, what new opportunities does this shift bring? So there's a regular DevOps, everybody's doing that, but are there new opportunities that talents should begin to explore? The guy in Yabatech, Unilab, what should he be looking at now to function effectively in the workforce once he graduates?
All right, so I would say that really, and like I've said that before, right? We have a bunch of our people focusing a lot on software development and programming, right? I think that is quickly becoming like utilizing Microsoft Word right now, right? Because AI can do that. Right now, right? Because AI can do that. I was actually speaking at a certain session. I was asked exactly the same question. And truth is, what we should be looking at right now are those skills or those areas that enables us to apply to build physical things, right? Right. When it comes to digital goods, and even Elon Musk said it the other day as well, repeated the same thing. When it comes to creating digital stuff and routine stuff, there are tools that are coming up that are able to do that, right? So those skills are not going to be so strong in demand as it was before. It's still going to be in demand, but it's going to gradually keep on dropping, right? Just like right now, the demand for graphic designers is dropping. I don't know how many of us know that, right?
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So those are the realities right now. But there are other opportunities that are opening up, and those opportunities are one, being able to do the complex engineering that build the system, the foundational engineering of systems, the technology engineering, the networking, and even up to even building the actual platforms to take advantage of this new software tools. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Onome, this is for you. Right, if you can hear me. Now, I want you to assume the role of a Nigerian father. And you had a son who had a drive.
Well, it will first of all be screaming like, come on, this is Then we have the co-creation possibilities, of course, with our other sister organizations as Biobab. Again, nobody's in business just for the fun of it. Provide that robust technical advisory to help you pitch your roadmap for your organization, where you are, where you need to be, and pitch your roadmap for your organization, where you are, where you need to be, and the global scale that comes from our partnership. Fail up, fail fast, take advantage of the MTN cloud and its possibilities.
Local infrastructure as it is right now.
Out US dollars. So that's one major bottleneck taken away. I talked about predictability earlier. With a lot more predictability, you get a lot more investment, then you can do so much more. and on jointly innovate on a local cloud. Then next step, now co-create with an organization, a lot of time working together and locking it. They are able to create. And then you sit on a map. So let's look at it. So what is for us as MTN? Again, we're delivering value to the ecosystem, to the startups who are on the MTN cloud. It's reducing their costs. It's allowing them to be more nimble. It's allowing them to be able to offer a better experience to their own customers. It's allowing them to be able to orchestrate different services on the MTN cloud. It's allowing other people to be able to buy from them. Honestly, I think it's really a matter.
And very significant, increasing their profit margins, very significant, because you are spending in Naira, and if you're serving customers that are even beyond Nigeria, you can spend in Naira, but you can build them in Forex and USD, and that increases your Forex.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're rounding up now, right? It's been an interesting conversation. So sometimes I wish this kind of gist can just go on and on, but we know you are busy, very busy leaders, and so we have to, let you guys go. But real quick, it's an open rapid fire. So I'm just going to assign one word to three of you, and then you respond respond in one word. What does, for example, data in one word mean to you?
Data. Data means information.
Information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Information.
Cloud.
Cloud for me. Cloud for me is endless opportunities. Endless opportunities.
Okay, cloud. Okay, Onome, cloud
Recording
for you.
in progress.
Okay, cloud for me will be local.
Local.
Global possibilities with local flavor.
Oh, local.
Interesting.
Wow, that's
Glocal.
a new word.
Wow.
All right. Interesting. So, I mean, for startups out there watching, for individuals out there watching, you've heard it from our guests.
Yeah.
You've heard it from the conversation so far. You have the responsibility to take ownership of your own data. And how can you do that? If you know a startup that uses local cloud centers, patronize that startup.
Exactly.
For startups that are hosting out of the country or out of Africa, begin to think of hosting where locally, right? Because you've heard it from MTN, the costs will drop significantly. The risk drops, and of course your profit margin increases. So if you are thinking about it or contemplating about it, now is the time to take action.
Go local.
Yeah, we got it. It's a real honor. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
And then again, before we call it a day, Tech Revolution Africa hosts conversations like this, but not just conversations that people talk and go, but deals, real deals that get facilitated. You heard it from our guests. Startups are leveraging this opportunity. Tech Revolution Africa is holding on the 30th and 31st of January 2026, live at Landmark Event Center, Lagos, 9 a.m. daily. Now, if you've not got your tickets, do get your tickets now, right now.
On
because techrevolutionafrica.org. Africa is making a decision when it comes to the tech ecosystem, and you don't want to be out of that decision-making process. Thanks to our headline sponsors, MTN, for such a beautiful conversation.
Thank you, Onome, for joining us from United States of where you are.
Thank you so much, and we hope to see you. And if at this point you have not hit the subscribe button, I don't know what you're doing, okay? So before we go, hit the subscribe button and see you next time on Tech Revolution Africa podcast.